bring back the Hall of Famer, Turner Sports NBA analyst, Reggie Miller. Before we get to the game, did you have bed check when you played with the Pacers?
Never.
Was there anybody in the lobby who would keep an eye on players as they were coming and going? Were you aware of that?
Not that I'm aware of. It's not like football. I know in football they have bed checks or curfew. Remember, you're only dealing with 12 to 15 individuals versus, 40 or 50 on a football roster, 25, I believe, on a baseball roster. No, I think everyone was left to the honor code, to the honor system. But look, if you need to be monitored at this point of the year for what's at stage, something's wrong. You don't have the right priorities.
Yeah, but there are a lot of young players in the game now. I'm not talking about the NBA Finals, but I would think you have to have a hall monitor with some of these kids. I mean, they are kids, Reg.
They are, but I mean, they've been doing this for a while. The AAU circuit is a lot worse than, college or the pros. So you would assume that they are some type of built-in system or trust within the player, an organization, a coach, a franchise. But no one was in the lobby with a keypad, with a pad and a pencil, monitoring what time you came in or went out, or who was coming in and who was leaving.
Mm-hmm.
That's more important, who's coming in and who's leaving.
That'd be...
A lot of times you don't need to go anywhere. You can have your own fun come to you.
That's the import-export business that we might be in. All right. Would you have a problem if you're a Denver Nugget with your coach, Mike Malone, saying this?
And I asked the team, you guys tell me why we lost. And they knew the answer. Miami came in here and outworked us. And we were by far our least disciplined game of these 16 or 17 playoff games, whatever it is now. If we're going to try to go down there and regain control of this series and get home court advantage back, we're going to have to outwork Miami, which we didn't do tonight, and our discipline is going to have to be off the charts.
Got any problem with that?
No, absolutely. I think that's a little bit kind for Coach Malone. If you remember in some of those games earlier on in the playoffs, he was calling them soft. And who is this team? I think that's very mild for Michael Malone, and he's absolutely right. To me, the first 6-8 minutes of Game 2 set the tone. Now, again, Denver, they rebounded and they played well from the second into the beginning of the fourth, but the tone had already been set on how that particular game, Game 2, was going to be played. It was much more physical. It was possession orientated, and there was a lot of missed assignments, defensive assignments that you didn't see in Game 1 for Denver. It was almost like they were playing a regular season game as opposed to Game 2 of the NBA Finals.
Yeah, but I don't know. It feels like he wants to mention names, individuals, but he's going to do it under the collective umbrella as the team. I'd start with Michael Porter Jr. III. What the hell? You get paid a lot of money. You're a no-show. He's like, good game, no-show. Good game, no-show. And, as the third best player on your team, you can't have that, man.
Yeah, at this point of the year, no. And you're right, as valuable as he is to the Nuggets' success. Also, too, I know we're only 2 games in. I'm still kind of waiting on Jamal Murray. We saw what he did in those first couple of rounds where he's been absolutely fantastic. He had his moments in quarter 2 or 3, but we're still waiting for him to have one of those signature type moments here in the finals. But, when I'm watching Game 2, it looks like Miami went to the game plan, and Jokic I put in the same category with Stephen Curry. You got to make them either or. They can't be able to do both. Either they're going to be a volume scorer or they're going to get a lot of assists. They can't do both. And in Game 1, Jokic did both. He had 25 plus and he had 10 plus assists. He's going to get his rebounds. I'm not worried about that. But in Game 2, 41 points and I believe only 5 or 6 assists.
Yeah, 4.
So you got to make him one or the other. it's when Denver is crazy is when he's able to score and get those other guys off. He wasn't able to do that last night.
Okay, Eric Spoelstra would have a problem with you with that logic there, because here's Ramona Shelburne from the mothership talking to Eric Spoelstra last night.
This is probably oversimplifying things, but sometimes when teams play against Jokic, you turn him into a scorer, you turn him into a passer, and he controls the game. He only had 4 assists tonight.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. It's just, that's the untrained eye that says something like that. This guy's an incredible player. Twice in 2 seasons, he's been the best player on this planet. You can't just say, oh, make him a scorer. That's not how they play. They have so many different actions that just get you compromised. We have to focus on what we do. We try to do things the hard way, and he requires you to do many things the hard way. And he has our full respect. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Coach.
Why is he bothered?
He did that. But he did do that. He did it the hard way, and that's staying home with shooters, staying attached, making life very difficult for Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. So you can't sag and help. And if he wants to get into that turn and do all those spinnings and make those incredible shots like he did in the third quarter, you shake your hand, you're going to lose anyways. But you can't let Porter give you 12 to 15, Murray 25 to 30, KCP 10 to 12. Those guys, you take away their looks and make Jokic 30-plus high volume, make him field goal. Look at his field goal attempts last night. He was, I wouldn't say he was gunny, but that's
a lot of attempts.
Scored.
Yeah.
So I understand what Coach Spoelstra is saying, but he doesn't want us to understand that's exactly what they did last night. Take everyone else away, make sure he doesn't have 10-plus assists, and get those other guys going.
It could have been a monster night where Jokic scores 41 and he has 10 assists. If those guys make 6 shots, then he's got 10 assists, and then Miami is now down 0-2 going back home. It's not like they go, you know what, he gets to score all of his points and then we'll shut down everybody else. I mean, that's their logic and their philosophy. But if those players make 5 or 6 more shots, then all of a sudden we're looking at that philosophy differently. It's like you let him score and pass. Game 1, they hit their shots. Game 2, they didn't hit their shots. And that's the difference in his assist total.
I agree. But I also think, too, it was much better effort on the defensive end by Miami, staying attached and getting into shooters, crowding. And again, Bam, Adebayo, Zeller, and at times Love, it's going to have to be single coverage. And if he scores, then so be it. But we've got to stay attached. That has always been the plus for the Denver Nuggets, has been their depth and their ability to get those others. You hear Shaq talk about all the time, those others. Get the others going along with Jokic. That's why they've been so successful for this NBA Finals run.
Kevin Love looks like somebody's dad who stepped onto the court. Like if he had cut off corduroys and New Balance on, you would think you were at the Y when you see him. He got old, man. What happened? Kevin Love's not that old.
Father Time catches us all. But I will say this. For a guy who started that Boston series and then was pretty much relegated to the bench because of the play of Caleb Martin, and then now to play, he really didn't play a lot in game 1 either. But then here is Coach Spoelstra again. I mean, this is why he was on the top 75 coaches, making the adjustment, putting Love back in. You could just plug him in. This is a guy that, every time he's been in the playoffs, his teams have found a way to been in the finals, and he just competes. Is he the same player he was when he was in Minnesota and when he won a championship with Cleveland? No, but he's serviceable. You can plug him in. He's not going to hurt you, and he's going to play within the confines of how the Heat want to play.
Frank Vogel is the Phoenix Suns' new head coach, a defensive-minded head coach. What does he bring to a team that's got a lot of shooters?
I think he brings a chip, because I thought he was railroaded when he was with the Lakers. they put a lot of the blame on his shoulders, and he was shown the door after winning that bubble championship. And I think he's going to be bringing a chip. You've got a top 10 player in Kevin Durant, arguably the best scorer this game has ever seen. You've got Devin Booker, and we saw how electrifying he was in the playoffs. And if you bring in that defensive-minded, I mean, DeAndre Ayton, that's what he's known for, defense. But they've got to have a few team meetings, because I think they've got to air out some things in that locker room first and identify roles. That's the good thing about Frank Vogel, is he's going to identify roles. So that, coupled with the chip on his shoulders from what happened with the Lakers, that is a scary franchise. And if they can add the defense, what he's known for, again, they'll be in the running to represent the Western Conference a year from now.
More likely to be there next year, DeAndre Ayton or Chris Paul?
I think you can get a lot of players for DeAndre Ayton. Wow. It's hard to find floor generals, but Chris Paul's body is breaking down, and DeAndre Ayton is younger. I would probably say I would err on the side of going younger in size with Ayton, just for the simple fact is Chris Paul's, 37, 38, and a lot of injuries that have kind of mounted up. I would probably say DeAndre Ayton, just to be safe, because of the age.
Yeah, he's 38. We're talking to Reggie Miller, the Hall of Famer. Monty Williams getting $10 million a year to coach the Pistons.
Get that bag,
Okay.
Monty.
Okay. What is Eric Spoelstra worth? What's Steve Kerr worth if Monty Williams is worth $10 million a year?
Both are worth about 15, I would say. I would say both are worth 15.
No, they've won. They've won something.
I would certainly say, I would think Spoelstra should be worth more than Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr has 3 Hall of Famers and is coaching 3 Hall of Famers. Eric Spoelstra, Jimmy Butler will be a Hall of Famer, but everyone else, I mean, look at what he's done with Gabe Vincent, Max Strus, Duncan Robinson. I mean, the list goes on. Caleb Martin. To coach these guys, these undrafted players, and to find yourself a split series in the NBA Finals. I mean, come on, man. And he's making in-game adjustments, post-game adjustments. They just find ways to win. Slight edge to Eric Spoelstra in terms of the monetary, which you're talking about. Both are worth 15, 16 million in my book.
Okay. Who is the best coach in the NBA?
I'm still going to go old school. Greg Popovich.
Well, he's going to get a whole lot better this year with Victor Wembanyama.
Here, this will tell me a lot. Now, when Wemby comes to San Antonio, and if they are a top, I'll say 16, top 6. If they don't have to be in the play-in, that lets you know that's all Greg Popovich, right? Because they've been terrible the last few years. They've played hard, but they've been terrible. But now you're going to get Wemby. If they can be one of the top 6 teams in the West, it's got to be Greg Popovich.
I saw an analyst who said that if Wembanyama is like Akeem and Kevin Durant and one other person, that would be a disappointment for his career.
I would say that.
I would too.
Kevin Durant. If this kid is a mixture of that, my only concern is he looks like me at 7'5". Knock on wood. I knock on wood. I was rarely injured throughout my 18-year, only ankle injuries. But I played on the perimeter. I'm not banging with the big boys. But it's not as physical as it was in the 80s and 90s. So he won't be banged up like those days. I just hope he doesn't get hurt, right? I pray he stays healthy. If he stays healthy, and everything I've seen on videotape, everything I've seen in scouting reports, if he plays like that, the future is his. So I'm excited for him.
Did we talk about Carmelo? You're in favor of retiring his jersey with the Knicks?
I think the Knicks and the Nuggets should retire Carmelo. Absolutely. You don't think so? Syracuse, Nuggets, certainly, and the Knicks. Yes, absolutely.
Well, what constitutes retiring somebody's jersey?
I think impact to the game, numbers.
Reg, you had more of an impact on the Knicks than Carmelo did. Right?
Impact in the community too.
Okay.
Melo was good in the community. Yes, he needs to have his jersey retired in all three of those places: Syracuse, Denver, and New York Knicks.
I don't know.
You don't feel that? Here's the thing.
Well, first of all, Jokic wears 15.
I know that. I was just getting ready to allude to that. So how do you handle that? Look, Ed O'Bannon and I from UCLA, we both wore 31. We're both retired at UCLA, and he was retired before me, and I played before him. So 231s are retired at UCLA. Why can't we have two number 15s retired for the Denver Nuggets?
Who was better at UCLA, you or Ed O'Bannon?
Are you serious right now? There was only a handful of players at UCLA that were better than me. A handful. And that's with a couple fingers cut off, too.
Wait. Okay. So you're saying Bill Walton and Kareem are the only two players UCLA history better than you?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I have to take Gail Goodrich over you.
I beg to differ, but that's your opinion.
Well, he did have an unbelievable championship game when he put up 42 and they won it. They won a couple national titles.
I said a couple fingers,
all
right? So that's three. There's Gail Goodrich.
So you're the fourth best player in UCLA history. Is that what you're saying? Fourth best. Yeah.
I'm not gonna. Paulie,
what do you have?
I got to decide this?
Well, no, I thought you had numbers here.
I'm going to go. Reggie Miller started 93 games for UCLA, had 3 great seasons, 15 points, 26 points, 23 points. Ed O'Bannon similarly started 3 seasons, 17, 18, and 20.
And won a title.
Part of a title.
Okay, so that trumps.
No, he won a title.
That trumps a lot. No, that does trump a lot.
What if Reggie was allowed to bring one of his siblings to help him?
That trumps a lot.
Yeah.
See, if I would have had Cheryl playing with me at UCLA, we would have won too. He had Charles.
Would Cheryl have started at UCLA with you?
I don't know if she could have started, but she would have been a hell of a sixth person for us.
Would she have played?
No, Cheryl would have definitely played. I would have made sure of it. And then I could have been just like the O'Bannon brothers and got one.
Yes, Paulie.
I have a list from Bleacher Report, greatest UCLA players of all time.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, here we go.
I'm just reporting the facts.
Okay.
Lou Alcindor, number 1.
Absolutely.
Bill Walton, number 2.
Yes.
Gail Goodrich, 3.
Yeah.
Marcus Johnson, 4.
Oh, yes. Okay. That's not, yeah.
74 to 77.
There's Richard Washington. Is he in there?
I got Walt Hazard, 5. Reginald Miller, 6. But that's upper echelon.
Okay. I'm in good company.
Yeah, you are.
I'm in good company.
Walt Hazard.
We forgot about Marcus Johnson.
Yes.
We forgot about Marcus.
Yes.
Apologize.
So you'd put Marcus above you?
Yes, I would.
Okay. That's respecting your elders.
Pooh Richardson's not scaring Reggie.
Pooh is not. No. Yeah, I felt bad for Pooh. He couldn't shoot.
Hey, Pooh was a heck of a distributor.
Yeah.
He found me.
That's what happens. That's what
Good looking,
happens.
Pooh.
That's what happens when you can't shoot. You got to be a distributor.
You better find me. You're right. But he could find me.
Thank you, Reg. Great to talk to you.
I appreciate you, Theodore. Dan, that's Paulie. Way to break this high.
Yay. Yeah, Reggie's got the Miami Heat in 6.